Hey there, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're not just ordering takeout, we're
Mm-hmm.
diving into the entire kitchen of Swiggy,
Okay.
an Indian company that's become a household name. But
Mm-hmm.
hold on, they're doing way more than just delivering your biryani.
Right.
You've got a meeting coming up about quick commerce, right?
Yeah.
Those ultra-fast delivery models that are popping up everywhere.
It's a fascinating space to be watching, for sure.
Well, Swiggy's right at the forefront of that trend, and we've got their latest quarterly report, Q2 FY25, to break down.
Okay.
What's got me hooked is how they've evolved.
Yeah.
It's not just about connecting hungry customers to restaurants anymore.
Right.
It's like they're trying to become the everything store of India, kind of like an Amazon, but with a uniquely Indian twist.
That's a great comparison. They've really expanded beyond the initial food delivery model. They're tapping into what's called a hyper-local strategy,
Yeah.
deeply integrating into the existing fabric of Indian commerce. Think grocery delivery supplying those small neighborhood shops called kiranas.
Uh-huh.
They're even serving wholesalers.
Okay, so before we get lost in the sauce,
Yeah.
can we get a quick rundown of exactly what Swiggy does for those who might not be familiar?
Sure.
What services do they offer?
Absolutely. So while food delivery is still their bread and butter,
Yeah.
they've branched out significantly.
Okay.
You've got Instamart promising groceries at your doorstep in under 30 minutes.
Wow.
Then there's Swiggy Bolt,
Okay.
their answer to the ultra-fast delivery craze, aiming for a 10-minute delivery time.
Oh, wow.
They've even got Swiggy Daily and Swiggy Cafe for more specialized needs.
Okay.
And if you're craving a night out, there's Dine Out helping you discover and book tables at restaurants.
Wow, they really do have their fingers in a lot of pies.
Yeah,
It's like a one-stop shop for, well, almost everything.
right.
That's super interesting for our listener who's prepping for this quick commerce meeting.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting a front row seat to how Swiggy's playing the game.
And what's particularly relevant for your meeting is their focus on dark stores.
Okay.
These are micro-fulfillment centers, essentially small warehouses stocked with goods,
Yeah.
strategically located for those super fast deliveries.
Those dark stores are fascinating. I imagine them like mini fortresses of snacks and essentials, just waiting to be unleashed upon a hungry city.
Exactly. Swiggy's betting big on them,
Yeah.
aiming for double the capacity by March 2025.
Wow.
They're even focusing on larger dark stores to handle the increasing demand and variety of products.
It's like they're building a whole new infrastructure for how we shop and eat.
Right.
But speaking of variety, they're also expanding their product range, right?
Mhm.
Not just food anymore.
That's right. Instamart is growing beyond groceries, adding things like pharma and electronics.
Oh, wow.
It's all part of a broader trend we're seeing in the industry.
Yeah.
Platforms aiming to become super apps that can handle a huge range of services.
So it's not just about being fast. It's about being comprehensive. They're trying to capture every aspect of how we live our lives, all through one app.
And that ambition is reflected in their expansion plans. They're looking to reach new cities and regions, particularly with Instamart.
Okay.
This aggressive growth is really shaking up the competitive landscape.
Okay, so we've got the lay of the land.
Okay.
They deliver a lot of stuff fast.
Right.
But how do we actually measure their success? What are the key metrics we should be looking at?
That's a great question. And their report provides some important clues.
Okay.
One of the key metrics is B2C GOV,
Okay.
gross order value.
Okay.
This tells us the total value of all orders flowing through their platform.
Uh-huh.
In Q2 FY25, it was over INR 11,300 crores, which is a significant number.
That's a lot of rupees, but it's not just about the money, right?
Right.
We need to know how many people are actually using the platform.
Absolutely. That's where MTU comes in.
Okay.
Monthly transacting users.
Okay.
Swiggy boasts a whopping 17.1 million active users each month.
Okay, so they got a ton of people ordering a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
But what about efficiency?
Yeah.
How do we know they're not just burning through cash to achieve this growth?
Well, there are a couple of metrics that give us some insight into that.
Okay.
One is orders per day per store, which essentially measures the throughput of each dark store. Then there's take rate.
Okay.
This is how much Swiggy makes from each order.
Uh-huh.
It's a delicate balancing act they need to keep customers happy with competitive prices while also ensuring they're profitable.
It's like a high wire act, right?
Right.
You've got to find that sweet spot between growth and profitability. And I imagine that's a key concern for investors.
Yeah.
What are some of the factors influencing investor confidence in Swiggy?
Well, there's a lot of excitement around their growth and innovative approach.
Hmm.
They're clearly pushing the boundaries of what's possible in quick commerce, but
But there are always buts in the world of business, right?
yeah,
What are the potential downsides that investors are wary of?
exactly. One major concern is the intense competition in the market.
Yeah.
New players are popping up constantly, and it's a fierce battle for market share.
It's like a game of quick commerce musical chairs.
Right.
Someone's always trying to steal your seat.
And then there's the inherent volatility of the quick commerce market itself.
Okay.
It's still relatively new, and the rules are constantly evolving.
Yeah.
What works today might be obsolete tomorrow.
So for our listener who's about to walk into this meeting,
Mm-hmm.
what's the key takeaway here?
Mm-hmm.
What should they be emphasizing about Swiggy?
I think the key takeaway is that Swiggy is a fascinating case study in ambition, innovation, and risk.
Yeah.
They're not just trying to win the quick commerce game.
Right.
They're trying to rewrite the rules, but that comes with its own set of challenges.
It's a high-stakes game for sure, but that's what makes it so exciting to watch.
And speaking of excitement,
Right.
I think there's another layer to this story that's worth exploring.
Okay. I'm intrigued. What else is cooking in the Swiggy kitchen?
We've been dissecting their business model, their financials, but what about the bigger picture?
Yeah.
Swiggy's not just a company, it's a reflection of a changing society, especially in India.
Mhm.
Their success or even their struggles will say a lot about the future of urban life in India.
That's a really good point. It's like they're holding up a mirror to how we live, how we eat, how we shop, how we interact with our cities.
Exactly. And this hyper-local strategy they've adopted, weaving those Kiranas into their network.
Yeah.
It's not just a business decision, it's a cultural one.
Right.
Those small shops are the lifeblood of many Indian communities.
So they're not just disrupting the market. They're integrating with it becoming part of the social fabric.
Mm-hmm.
That's a much more nuanced approach than we're seeing from some other players.
Absolutely. And it speaks to a deeper understanding of the Indian consumer, the
Yeah.
importance of those personal connections, that sense of community.
But it also makes them more vulnerable, wouldn't you say? What if regulations change in a way that disrupts that model?
Right.
What if those Kiranas decide they don't want to play ball anymore?
That's the big question, and it's one that keeps investors up at night.
Yeah.
Swiggy's walking a tightrope, trying to balance innovation with tradition growth with sustainability.
It's like they're building a bridge between the old and the new, hoping it doesn't collapse before they reach the other side.
A very apt analogy. And speaking of bridges, let's go back to those investor concerns for a moment.
Okay.
We talked about competition, market volatility,
Yeah.
but there's another factor that's often overlooked, the regulatory landscape.
Ah, yes. The government always has a seat at the table, don't they?
Right.
How are regulations shaping the quick commerce landscape in India?
It's a complex situation.
Okay.
On the one hand, the Indian government is very supportive of innovation and entrepreneurship.
Right.
They see the potential of quick commerce to create jobs, boost the economy, but
But there are always those buts, right? What are the potential roadblocks that Swiggy might face from a regulatory standpoint?
well, data privacy is a big one. Quick commerce companies collect a lot of data about their customers.
Yeah.
What they buy, where they live, their spending habits.
Right.
The government is increasingly concerned about how that data is being used, who has access to it.
So it's a balancing act for the government as well. They want to promote growth, but they also need to protect citizens' privacy.
Right.
It's like walking a tightrope, just like Swiggy.
Exactly. And then there's the issue of gig worker rights.
Okay.
Many quick commerce companies rely heavily on delivery partners who are classified as independent contractors, not employees.
Right.
This means they often lack basic benefits like health insurance or paid leave.
Yeah.
There's a lot of debate about whether this model is sustainable, whether it's fair to these workers.
It's a thorny issue for sure, and it's something that's not unique to India.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing these same debates play out in Europe, in the U.S., all over the world.
Absolutely. It's a global challenge that quick commerce companies are going to have to address head on.
So for our listener who's prepping for this meeting,
Yeah.
what's the key takeaway here? How should they be thinking about these regulatory challenges?
I think the key takeaway is that the regulatory landscape is constantly evolving.
Okay.
What's allowed today might be restricted tomorrow.
Right.
Companies like Swiggy need to be agile, adaptable, and most importantly,
Yeah.
they need to be proactive in engaging with policymakers.
So it's not enough to just build a great product and a slick app.
Right.
You also have to navigate the political and legal complexities of the market you're operating in.
Exactly. It's a reminder that business isn't just about numbers and algorithms.
Right.
It's about people relationships and understanding the broader context in which you operate.
And speaking of the broader context, I think there's one more layer to this story that we need to peel back.
Oh, I agree. This is where it gets really
All
fascinating.
right, lay it on me. What's this fascinating final layer?
We've talked about Swiggy's impact on businesses, on communities, but what about the individual?
Sure.
How is this rapid rise of quick commerce changing consumer behavior expectations, even our relationship with time?
That's a really interesting angle. It's like we're becoming conditioned to expect everything instantly.
Right.
Food, groceries, even medicine. It's all just a few taps away.
Exactly. And that shift in expectations has ripple effects.
Yeah.
It changes how we plan our days, how we manage our households, even how we think about convenience versus quality.
Right.
Are we willing to sacrifice a bit of quality for the sake of speed? Are we losing the art of patience?
It's like a social experiment playing out in real time.
Right.
And I wonder, are there generational differences at play here?
Hmm?
Are younger consumers more accustomed to this instant gratification culture than older generations?
That's a great question, and it's something that researchers are starting to study.
Yeah.
There's definitely a sense that younger generations who have grown up with smartphones and on-demand services
Right.
have a different perception of time and convenience.
Right. It makes me think about those long lines we used to wait in for the latest gadget or concert tickets.
Yeah.
Now we expect everything to be delivered to our doorstep, often within hours.
And that expectation is only going to intensify.
Right.
Companies like Swiggy are constantly pushing the boundaries, experimenting with even faster delivery times.
Yeah.
Where does it end? 5-minute deliveries, 1-minute deliveries.
Right.
It's a race to the bottom of the clock.
It's almost like a science fiction scenario, isn't it? A world where everything is instantaneous, where the physical world melts away into a digital interface.
And that raises some important philosophical questions.
Yeah.
What does it mean to live in a world where time is compressed, where everything is available at our fingertips?
Right.
Does it make us more efficient, more productive, or does it just make us more impatient, more disconnected from the real world?
Those are some heavy questions,
Hmm.
but I think they're essential questions to be asking as we navigate this new era of quick commerce. For our listener who's about to walk into that meeting, armed with all these insights, what's the key message they should be conveying?
I think the key message is that quick commerce is about much more than just speed and convenience.
Okay.
It's a force that's reshaping our cities, our communities, and our individual lives. It's a trend that we need to be mindful of, both the opportunities and the potential downsides.
So it's not just about understanding the business model or the market trends.
Right.
It's about understanding the human impact.
Exactly. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I'd encourage our listener and everyone listening to think critically about their own relationship with quick commerce. How is it shaping your life, your habits, your expectations? The answers might surprise you.
That's a great point to end on. Food for thought delivered right to your ears. And as always, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of Swiggy and the future of quick commerce.